Fortnite messed up Season 2 and players aren't happy. Longer games, removing favorite items, but the thing fans hate the most is the wrong location getting deleted. As last season came to an end, we knew some big map changes were on the way through the giant rift in the sky. While that was true, we didn't think they'd all be in one place. Epic changed a quarter of the map, giving us 3 brand new locations, but land anywhere else, and it's basically Season 1. The rift gate caused a tear right above the Citadel, and everyone expected it to transform, but it was untouched outside of removing the only thing worth landing for, the ageless mythics. Now, it's still not as bad as Epic hyping up the mythic ODM gear by showing it off in all types of trailers, but it's nowhere to be found. Like most seasons, we won't see it arrive until later, but since this was the most requested item, I'm a little disappointed we have to wait, but maybe we're all just being impatient. And that's not the only reason Attack on Titan fans are feeling let down. When the collab first leaked, the community's excitement was off the charts, until we saw how Epic dropped the ball. The skin looked great, but one thing that everyone noticed was no edit styles. You have the option to take off his cloak, but no Titan transformation or Season 4 variant. I was also a little upset when we saw his Titan fist on a stick pickaxe instead of like steel swords or even the Warhammer. I mean, it totally got the Darth Vader treatment. We would have also loved to see Titans in the game, but since the crossover is still a month away, we'll have to wait and see. Another thing fans were excited about was the rails that you could grind on. After months of skateboard teasers and the animation being leaked, it looked like it was ready for release until they never appeared. Turns out you don't need skateboards to grind, which does make sense, but imagine if Skate 3 and Fortnite combined for creative. It would be insane. Doesn't mean the feature's scrapped, but safe to say this one might not release for years. Something else a lot of players have been frustrated with is the return of a game-ending weapon, the heavy sniper. Pretty much everyone was glad to see it come back after Most Wanted, but that was until the second shot perk released. This allows you to shoot right through walls like you're hacking, not to mention there's literally no way to stop it in zero build. And by now there's no doubt you have been shredded by the overclock pulse rifle. It's happening to everyone. The mythic only comes from the Loot Lake Island that spawns halfway through the match, so you might not think it's too much of a problem, but whoever comes out on top basically gets a rapid fire Kamehameha that's impossible to counter. To make it worse, if you're playing squads, the island drops 4 of them so the whole team could run around with these things. And if you think matches are taking way too long this season, you're not alone, because Epic secretly added 4 new storm circles to every game, making players way harder to find. Now instead of games ending by the 6th circle, they're still lasting until the 10th, and that's without mentioning the fact that Mega City wipes out half the lobby in minutes. That's another issue on its own, because the POI isn't actually as big as it seems. After just a little while of exploring the neon streets, people started to realize that half of the city was completely fake. The skyscrapers only have 2 floors, with the rest sealed off and a zip line straight to the roof. I mean, it makes sense there's not 30 floors in every building, but we've had places like Daily Bugle and Tilted, so I feel like there should have been a little more. On the flip side though, it helps a lot with performance, so I can't fully hate on this decision, but something else that's also restricted is the grind rails. They're one of the best features about the POI, but you could hardly find them anywhere else on the map, so we're all praying they expand in the future. In previous seasons, we've been given new gameplay elements like sliding, tactical sprint, mantling, and Season 2 was set to evolve the game, but of course, that hasn't happened. With leaks of first person even confirming its release, the long-awaited feature remains nowhere to be seen. The same goes for things like wall running, which would have been perfect for Mega City, and hill scramble to help us up steep cliffs, although I'm just glad Epic is taking their time to get these right, because we don't want another hurdling situation. They also locked away 4 pages of the Battle Pass with the Quest Rewards tab, which lets you unlock a ton more items by completing weekly challenges, but of course this means one thing. There's only so many you could do, having to wait up to 70 days to unlock a certain emote or style. It's a better system than the previous mid-season drops, but now it requires a whole lot more patience. At the end of last season, we were all on the edge of our seats waiting for the grand reveal of the storyline. What happened to Amy, the Seven, even the Oathbound? The cinematic usually gives us all the answers, but instead we got a glorified gameplay trailer. To make things worse, the only story right now is told through quests and NPCs who all give no info on last season. Instead, we're being recruited by the Peace Syndicate and have to wait over a week before part 2 arrives. Epic also gave us a feature that nobody asked for, and it is causing some big problems. With cosmetics being a huge part of Fortnite, presets are essential, but Epic has made it so whenever you change a cosmetic, it'll flashbang you. It can get so annoying if you want to swap out the whole set and your entire locker just keeps blinding you. You could just press save, but for anyone who uses presets regularly, you might not even have any slots left. For 2 years, we've been stuck with only 100 spaces, and now they're encouraging us to save with no space. Well, it turns out they made space by clearing out all the good augments. They reset most of the perks in the game, leaving us with a few old ones, but of course, all the best ones are gone. Things like Storm March, Bush Warrior, and a whole lot more revolted. Now we're just stuck with boring ammo augments. One thing everyone's been asking for is a buff to the combat shotgun. This thing used to rule the loot pool and maybe deserved a nerf, but Epic went overboard. The whole point of it was to deal damage at a longer distance than other shotguns, but now it feels like you might as well just use an SMG. Well, it looks like Epic heard us because they have just buffed the damage for all rarities. Everyone loves the battle pass, but there's a massive issue people are starting to notice. In the past, Fortnite used to give styles to just a skin and forget the rest of the set. We were all so happy when they fixed it, but now it has been reverted. Skins like Mystica have a bonus Snow White style, but once you unlock it, you realize none of her set has it. The same goes for styles like Amani's Headline Green, Thunder's Yellow Suit, and Highwire's Bubblegum variants. For sets that did change, Epic still managed to mess it up because some items give you the second style instead of the base item. Things like Renzo's glider come like this, not unlocking the original until weeks later. And they made an even bigger mistake with the most unique items in the game. Last season, the Oathbound brought us the Shockwave Hammer, instantly becoming the most fun weapon of Chapter 4. We also got the Guardian Shield, the best defense we'd ever seen, along with the Falcon Scout, making it so useful for information. Not only were these super interesting, but Epic tied them all to the Oathbound, meaning they vanished with Season 2. The same goes for the Scar, which is vaulted for the entirety of Chapter 3. It left the community begging for its return, with Epic teasing it in live events, but never in-game. After a year of waiting, we finally saw it return in Chapter 4, but only for it to be removed after just 1 season. Leaks also revealed the pump will be coming back, and while it did as the Havoc, it definitely didn't fill the spot like people were hoping. But these new weapons are lacking in one important area, and that is competitive. Players immediately notice how slow they equip, making mid-fight weapon swaps almost deadly, especially when it comes to switching between edits and guns. But since the Havoc weapons are so powerful, it makes sense to keep them balanced. What doesn't make any sense is how Epic reused an entire event for a brand new season. About a month ago, we saw Most Wanted bringing special exotics, bosses, and a bunch of unvaulted items. It only lasted 2 weeks, and everyone hoped we'd see him again, but this isn't exactly what we expected. All the exotics were re-released along with the Heavy Sniper, but the new boss for Season 2 is just Wildcard again. Epic copy-pasted the vaults back into Brutal Bastion and Shattered Slabs, but didn't make the bosses different, having 3 of the same person every match. Not to mention the fact that High Card is easier to defeat than his 2 henchmen. But ruining a boss is nothing compared to cutting off thousands of fans from playing the game. With Season 2, Fortnite banned Windows 7 and 8, meaning anyone who is still using the software can't play anymore. Well, there's definitely not many playing on these, you gotta feel bad for those left behind. Now, it's just like the potential for this collab, because last season players thought Saucy Sausage was hinting something. Since it sells chili dogs, people thought it might be the first tease for a Sonic crossover. This was only supported by more evidence when leakers found grind rails were coming to the game. But once we all dropped in, our hopes were crushed. I mean, what you got against Sonic, Epic? With the dirt bike in the vault, we're left with the new rogue bike to get around. But there is one problem. It's not as good as you might think. Take this thing off-road and you'll have reduced speed and almost no control. Find yourself speeding into objects, there's not even a jump button to escape. It is just as bad with the Nitro Drifter. Since they removed Chalker's tires, it is impossible to off-road with these things. That is everything that could use improvement in Season 2, and I gotta say, Fortnite has really made these videos hard to make with how great this season has been. I know this video is a little nitpicky, but this series is tradition here at T5G to take feedback from the community and hope Epic sees it. Trust me, I'm not a really big hater, okay? This has been Tommy, keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.